Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's their time and bandwidth. Today's game is Yakuza Kiwami 2. With both a fancy new engine and mechanics, Yakuza Kiwami 2 remakes the second Yakuza game with a splash. But is this a good conversion? Let's find out. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is a remake of the second PS2 Yakuza game, but unlike Kiwami 1, this one was built in the new Dragon engine that they used for Yakuza 6, this game's predecessor, and includes a bunch of upgrades that came with that game. Kiwami 2 starts with a bang, with Kiryu and Haruka trying to get out of the Yakuza life only for the new chairman to be murdered in front of them. On top of that, a newcomer, Ryuji Goda, who also has a dragon tattooed on his back, seems to have it out for Kiryu and the current Toho clan leadership. What evolves is a complex conflict between two large crime organizations, with the details on who is working for what and why left hidden until the end. While the plot itself is the usual twist and crime-filled Yakuza fare, what stands out this time is the characters. Goda is a great villain and foil for Kiryu, and Kiryu's new love interest and Yakuza hunting cop Sayami is one of the series' few great female characters. The game does a great job building off the characters from 1 and making a much more ambitious and deep story around them. In terms of gameplay, it is the same Yakuza systems here. You have two big open zones in Kamurocho and Sotenbori, filled with side stories, minigames, and more to engage with, as well as plenty of street punks to beat up. XP this time is like Yakuza 6 in that you have multiple categories you can earn XP in based on what you do, and completion activities give XP rather than completion points. Funnily enough, the best way to gain XP is eating, as now you have a new hunger meter rather than just eating to restore health, and comboing foods can give tons of XP. It's like a puzzle unto itself, which is neat. Combat has evolved somewhat from Yakuza 6, in that you only have one style, and you'll be using crap on the streets as well as your heat actions to do hilarious violence. Another addition is now you can bank weapons that you find in combat, similar to Yakuza 5, and use them later, which makes it easier to accumulate gear. The two main minigames this time are the return of the fantastic Cabaret Club from Zero, just with Kiryu at the reins this time, and Majima's Construction. Cabaret Club, as mentioned in my Yakuza 0 review, is kind of like RPG Diner Dash, with this version being functionally identical, though upgrading the platinums is somehow more tedious. Majima Construction is Turf Wars from 6, but simpler, where Majima's in charge of a big construction project because the Toho clan is nuts, but everybody wants to beat him up, so you enlist sub-story people to fight what is basically a tower defense mixed with an RTS game that's easy but pretty fun. As mentioned, this is all in the Dragon engine, so the game is not only much prettier, there's lots of other improvements such as not having to load when you go in and out of buildings, seamless combat transitions, and some really fun and wonky physics. But overall, this is another Yakuza game with the same trappings you've come to expect, so let's get on with it and say if I think this is a good one. So what did I like about Yakuza Kiwami 2? Well, as mentioned, there's so many good characters here, particularly Sayami, who is a great match for Kiryu as well as a good character on her own. I also love the villain, Ryuji Goda, who as mentioned is a great parallel for Kiryu and is a bit more complex than the standard Yakuza bad guys wanting power. Additionally, this game looks really good, with the locations, particularly at night, and the rain just atmospheric and gorgeous, and revisiting Sotenbori was a treat, even though they did cut out one area from the original Yakuza 2. And lastly, the two big minigames here are baller. Cabaret Club is always fun, and connecting his plot to Zero with Yuki-chan is a great throwback. Majima's Construction is easy and addicting, and the entire new section, known as the Majima Saga, does a great job of providing a lot of fan service in wrapping up the plot threads left unresolved from Zero. When it comes to the bad, while the combat is good, it does get a little meh after a while, particularly coming off Zero and Kiwami 1, where Kiryu had 4 styles to play with, and a lot of the upgrades feeling less impactful than they did in previous games. And speaking of those upgrades, some of the systems are a bit annoying. While I like the multiple XP pools, I wish you could transfer points between them, even if it was at like a 2-to-1 ratio or something, because it sucks having a billion red XP and nothing to spend it on. And lastly, the ending leaves a bit to be desired in terms of plot twists, since this game basically goes into, this is actually the big bad, no wait, this guy's the big bad, or is this guy the big bad, with the layering of those twists ending up being ridiculous. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, and don't bother, and Yakuza Kiwami 2 is one of my personal favorite Yakuza games. The story and characters are fantastic, the new Dragon engine and upgrade systems are modern and addicting, and the game looks incredible. The remake adds some fantastic new content and minigames to really round out the experience, so if you're even a passing fan of this series, Kiwami 2 is one you should absolutely play. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played Yakuza Kiwami 2, did you play the original Yakuza 2 on the PS2? Let me know what you think about this and the series in the comments, and regardless, make sure you go out there and give Kiwami 2 a shot.